Right, quick, I think I've accidentally finished this. I've slightly altered some of the beams, which you might be able to see, and then it all turns into a shambles. Best of luck. Well, to continue with the shambles, I don't know if I've shown these or not. This is out of the one with the little houses, this one. This is out of the one with the towers and the walls. And what you have here is the interior lining with curtains, which is all very modern. Or what you have here are the painted shutters, what would be the interior faces that open out or face outwards when you open them out. And there is a standard, and there's a second one, and we'll be doing those. I just started cutting them out and I thought, oh, I don't know if I've shown these or not, I can't remember. So that's how you get them, and that's what you do to them. Right then, this is it at its most sort of fundamental but done, if you see what I mean. And I've been just trying to kind of get the basics and get it complete and get it looking like something. There is always room for doing more, isn't there? I've just spotted one thing. I haven't done anything to the roof of that at all, but it looks okay, weirdly. I've somewhat neglected the tower, I've just realised. We'll have to do a whole bit on the tower. Just been focusing on the little houses, haven't I? But here we are with the whole unit complete. This film has been a shambles from start to finish. I'll get back to that. This is what you get. There's a pleasant little plastic standard, not plastic, card, papery card. I haven't done that very well. I'm going to take that off and tidy it up. Also the shutters, they should all be like that. They're also cut out of the card, which we've been looking at. And while we're here, I've just added a tiny little bit of weathered and worn and tired paint to the coat of arms. Mostly yellow, because I'm assuming that's relating to the German coat of arms, which is yellow with a black double-headed eagle, but it could be Austrian or something like that, who knows. It is a bit vague, but anyway, I've gone German. I think on film these little shutters look okay, but in real life they're a bit too vivid, they're a bit too printed, they're a bit too papery. So what I've done on the others intentionally is make mucky, messy versions. These possibly aren't the greatest I've ever done. I'm liking the wobbliness, and I'm not quite sure why. Something perverse going on there. These ones are red on the left and red and yellow over here. And I've wanted it to look a little bit more weathered and worn. That's the aim. A little bit less pristine. So on this side, much better. In some respects, red and yellow, yellow and blue, and then a pair of red and white. Very, very worn looking. Here, not so happy, far too dark. Even close up they look just dark or brown, whereas what they really are is red and blue, and then that one is a vague red and white, and then the rest are red and blue. So I will rest the model and then repaint those. And these I'm really enjoying, because I put a little black line down the centre of each one. Imperfect, obviously, because they would have been hand painted and painted according to the levels of sort of wear and tear and damage. So some would be better than others and some would be more worn than others. I've done similar here, just doing sort of worn out white, which doesn't look great. Blue, which looks abysmal. That's just dropped off, so I'm going to have to repair that. And then worn out white again. This side I might keep because they look, there's a solidity about them, but the rest I will have to redo. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is we've got the basics done, and it's time to digest and to consider. But having said that, we need to work on the tower, and we need to think about the fact that I've made this film a complete shambles from start to finish. Yeah. I should have shown this before. For some reason I didn't, which is, you know, typical. Anyway, here's this nice book, Paper Boys on Campaign. They are a series of books of thin card, thick paper with images on them which you can cut out and create little armies of, or the Armada. Probably do Trafalgar off the top of my head, and they'll all be at the back, so we'll look at that in a minute. Anyway, they also do these buildings, European buildings, 28mm paper models for 18th and 19th century wargaming. Florian Richter and Peter Dennis, very good. There's all of these buildings that you can see on the cover in here, but the one that I want to draw ideas from is this one, and it is the watermill. There'll be a picture of it shortly because it's similar. You can see the wood framing is a little bit more conventional, but here we have some nice imagery. Obviously, being a watermill, they're usually low down and in dark and dank places, so there's a lot of green coming up at the bottom as it soaks up the water. I've only put a little green on because these aren't down by, they'd be higher up usually, so a little bit drier, but just trying to get the variation between things and a little sense of wear and tear, just for sort of inspiration, and take it for a walk from there. The artwork is superb, has to be said, and the artwork on the figures in the other books is superb as well, of which I have a couple, Wars of the Roses and the Armada. Don't know if I've got anything else right now. Anyway, this is your watermill when complete. There's both sides. That one's less significant. This is what I'm kind of working towards. Only vaguely, not a direct copy. And that's the inspiration. So we'll take it from there. Meanwhile, do they? No. I'll have a look at another one, we'll see what they do. Or is it in the front cover? Here we go. Do all this. Spanish Armada, definitely got that one. Jacobite 45, 1066, we don't need to go over that again. Wars of the Roses, yes, I've got that, we'll look at that another day. Castle Assault would be fun, wouldn't it? There you go, Trafalgar. Roman invasion, American Civil War, Revolutionary War, the English Civil War, War of Spanish Succession, very interesting, and here's the buildings. I don't think they do any more, but it's worth looking out for. And there are other companies that do similar, but these are very good. And there it goes, back into the bookshelf. Why are you doing one of those dismal shots that terribly cheap films have when they're trying to fill in and create a bit of space to lengthen the film at no expense whatsoever? The reason is actually I've got another inspection on the operations that were done on me, and that usually means like 2 days out and then 3 weeks of recovery because there's usually an infection. So I'll probably be sitting around and won't be doing so much, so maybe we'll have a look at some books. I don't know if you can see that. Some of these are worth a look, aren't they? Hey? And then up here, out of the way, can you see that? The classic vintage years of Airfix box art with the legendary Roy Glass. So maybe, let's do that. So stepping back somewhat, going back in time, there's our box with its registration number and lack of title, and all very lovely. I would like to get my hands on a carriage, I must say, and a log wagon, but anyway, that's us with that sort of done. But you might have noticed there was an extra tower in one of the shots in the previous video for this, and that is this one, Volmer 3903. And this is 3 towers and 4 stretches of wall. So I got these as a pair off the internet, I think. Oh look, I'm so silly. Berg Tower, can you see? Hang on. You know I'm just ridiculous. I didn't need to say it. Wake up, man. Focus, camera. It might, there we go. Look, title and everything. What a very, made in West Germany, love it. What a very funny place to put your title. Anyway, here we are with this. So what's this one called? Unsurprisingly, City Walls. We'll get there, won't we? We usually do. So, City Walls it is. Marvellous. So, 3 towers, 4 bits of wall. They are the same towers as in the film that we've just, or the model we've just made. There's an extension on one to get us all that way. The other 2 are short. The key difference is you get projecting sections, sort of oriel windows, but not quite. And one in particular is rather fancy, which I like. And I've been working on the 2 sets at the same time, because I got them at the same time, and so I've got the paint out and I want them to look like they belong to each other. So let's have a look. Nowhere near finished though. At some point you've got to work on the detail. So I was working on the detail for the little houses. But here we are. Now Mini Meltdown is loving playing with these, so he's blue tacked that on. We'll deal with this in more detail. And I haven't got the fancy bit because it's there, and I rather like the way it's come out. But anyway, there we are. We've got all sorts of other stuff here as well. This is in a tiny room at the end of the house, which is like a glorified cupboard with a window. There's our sculptures. There's we've seen those in, I think it was Hengist model, I called it. Some 6mm figures and a galleon that isn't going anywhere, plus some skulls and things. Anyway, look, see, we'll come back to those. That's what I'm saying, isn't it? We will come back to those. So basically what I was trying to do was explain why we ended up with an extra bit of tower and things like that. What's very interesting is it's got a barcode and price. 49 Deutschmarks. So exactly what year did they stick that price sticker on? This one's a little bit more pricey. 54.50. Wow. Anyway, so that's it. What I'm going to do now is put a little bit of blue sky behind it and do a sort of closing shot and remarks, and then what else? Then I'm going to put it in this room, and I'm going to sit. We've got a TV next to it. Squeeze the TV in this room, somewhere to when Mini Meltdown's asleep. You just crash out and watch junk on the telly. And what we're going to do, we are going to sit and look at this and reflect upon it, and then probably repaint the shutters. And there it is. as it's meant to be, so to speak, or as near as. And couldn't look more Christmassy, could it? Look, white base, blue sky, red bit in the corner, must be evening coming, Christmas Eve. What more could you ask for? Well, I'll tell you what, bauble. Right, it's good, isn't it? So anyway, a bit complacent, but marvellous. The more blank side, this is a very noisy board, isn't it? Yep, let's give that one a spin. Oh dear, very dull this. Still looking Christmassy though. I think the bauble really brings out the Christmas in it. There are loads of ways to have this, obviously, which is one of the things Mini Meltdown loves. I do like that little window. That needs a bit of a paint up. So many options, which I always enjoy an option. Not that modern governments are into providing me with many, but anyway, there we are. Let's get this one back round. Pleasantly anti-symmetrical. So if that isn't Christmassy enough, I've got some friends along. Snowman. How about that? Plus his mate, Christmas tree. And we're really getting going now. This is for those who have gender issues, Mrs. Santa, and for Greta, oh dear, one of those things, what are they called? Polar bear. Here we go. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Fantastic. But yeah, going back to the model rather than sarcasm, it's alright really. It's very simple, but at the same time there's a lot of fiddliness about it, and a lot of room for improvement in many ways, but in others it's doing the job. What else? Yeah, we'll probably come back to it, I think. Just to deal with the shutters, if nothing else. I feel like there's a bit more work to be done on the stonework too, but like I say, I'll put it up and I'll look at it for a few months and we'll see what happens. Happy Christmas.